My brothers and sisters, welcome to the book of Genesis. We're in the 110th little 7-minute segment of Genesis, and we're in Genesis chapter 25. We're going to start in verse 19 today. We're on this little theme where each generation gets to carry the torch of life and decisions for God and will and integrity before the Lord. And we're going to kind of end with, Lord, help me make good use of this day. Now, Rebekah has asked a great question, and she gets to ask God one of the why questions in life. It's not a statement of her doubt of God, it's actually a dependence upon her God. So we're going to head towards gratefulness and encouragement and using our spiritual giftedness and love and being a joy and being patient with bad drivers around us and being kind to someone who doesn't deserve it and having purity of thought as we consider the ways of God and working against the temptations of real life. So we're going to work towards a relationship with God and inquire for understanding and intercession for another. We're going to see that in Isaac. So everybody gets to ask the why questions, whether they want to, whether they will or not, that's up to them. All right, let me read from Genesis chapter 25. This is the generation after Abraham. These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean, to be his wife. And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. The children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it is thus, why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you shall be divided. The one shall be the stronger than the other. The older shall serve the younger." When her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red, and all his body like a hairy cloak. So they called his name Esau. Afterward, his brother came out with his hand holding Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. When the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, while Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents. Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So the point I want to get to today is, will Isaac follow God? Will Rebekah follow God? Now, Isaac had a particular challenge in that his dad was Billy Graham. He was a known and recognized and faithful friend of God who finished well. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter whether your dad's Billy Graham. The question is, what does Isaac do? Isaac gets to choose. So Isaac either gets to pray or not to pray. Similarly, will Rebekah follow God? So she kind of could try to go on the coattails and say, my husband's a faithful person, my father-in-law's famous and rich, and I am going to earn some merit based on the faith of my family or my spouse. No, she asks, why is this happening to me? And then what she does is, who does she ask that question to? So she asks God the question, which I just think is a real testament of faith. So she inquires of the Lord as opposed to inquiring from a news station or a comedian or late night TV or the media or sometimes even the people of God. She asks the people. She asks God Himself this question. So then the other question I think is interesting here is, will Isaac persist in prayer? So he was 40 years old when she started not to conceive, and he was 60 years old when she finally gives birth. So there's the 20-year span in there, and Isaac prayed. Now it doesn't say whether he prayed the last second he finally got religion on the 19th year, or whether he prayed for the 7,300 days every day for 20 years, inquiring of the Lord. So did he start in this posture and continue in this posture, or did he kind of come to it late? It doesn't say. But he comes to it, so that's great. And we should not give him a pass and say, oh, it was easy for him, he had this famous father. Maybe it was even more difficult. And, so far we know he's got an infertile wife, he's got tension in the home, he's got child favoritism. In other words, it sounds like a real family with real problems. So the question I think for us is, do you pray? Do you say in desperation to the Lord, hey, only you can do this? And it's upon only you that I can depend and yield in this way, this relational posture before God. And often you share it with his people, but you have to do it yourself. So do I unite in a people, a church, that's directed and focused and purposed in prayer? What kind of a people do you choose to bind yourself with? But the essential element for today is, do you do the hard things of God with your tongue and your mind and your hands and your zipper and your money? And could someone maybe looking at your life make an argument that you are a woman of God or a man of God? So I pray that you would do this in a community, of course, but you have to do some of the essential elements. So I think today is really an encouragement. So can you respond faithfully with the tensions and the strife and the difficulties that are before you? I imagine your life is challenging. You have unknowns. Maybe it's infertility like they do here, or heritage, or marriage, or child rearing, or the real stuff, integrity in school. So people around you are going to be, you get to do this life with knuckleheads, right? So, they're going to be disappointing you to a certain extent, but the point is, you're not supposed to be disappointing God. You're not supposed to be disappointing other people. So do you respond faithfully to the spiritual challenges of your day, this day, your real temptations? So are you going to wrestle with impatience and anger and lust and greed and pride, the usual stuff? So today, as you walk through your day, watch for them, fight them, turn to the Lord, inquire of the Lord, petition for other people. We see all this in the passage. And God would love to hear from you, like he did from Rebekah, a why question, just like Rebekah did. It would make God's day. So go make God's day today. Thanks for listening.